it's obvious that we're seeing a sharp increase in demonic possessions across the board in multiple cities. Okay, there's all types of really crazy things in the news, but with regards to this specific issue, okay, and there is a connection between solar flares and women being lit on fire, demonic possessions, people lighting themselves on fire also. Okay, that is something that I specifically have noted that others have not. People lighting themselves on fire at protests. Now we're seeing the emergence of more criminals and psychopaths lighting women on fire. Several months ago, I talked about having really bad feelings about people hunting women in Portland, Oregon. And I also see a future in which men are hunted also, a world in which women are hunted by psychopaths and a world in which men are hunted by psychopaths. And this has actually been featured in pop culture, the idea of men being hunted in the American Horror Story episode, which I put at the 2025 channel. Okay, so this is Harnett County, and I'm not exactly sure where that is. So we're gonna, this is actually very sad.
Live outside the Harnett County Sheriff's Office with the latest. Justin.
Yeah, 28-year-old Ashanti Downey is in the burn center tonight with second and third degree burns. And tonight, deputies here in Harnett County are looking for those who are responsible. This is the area where it happened, near the busy intersection of Barbecue Church Road and NC 27. They say someone doused the 20-year-old with gasoline the night of December 16th before using a cigarette to set her on fire. Investigators say Downey was walking in this area when the attack happened.
Christ.
Now, deputies say no witnesses have.
Okay, there's 4 people here. Just stand by. I'm going to show you something. Okay, if you've been with me and you've been watching these videos, and this is not your first rodeo, you've noticed that I've been doing solar reports, and I've been showing you when the solar cycle is most active. Okay, and I've been on a regular basis warning you and telling you the only person on earth. A lot of people think this is a joke. Do you? Do you? I hope that I'm holding your attention, because this is not a joke, folks. When the sun is super active, good. Stay there, all 4 of you, and pay attention and take notes. When the sun is most active, there just have so many people don't get this. Alex Jones doesn't get this. Okay, there are people out there that are psychopaths that will straight up light people on fire and shit when the sun is active. And on this planet of 8 billion, I am somebody awake enough that gets this. So today we're going to report this. Make sure to like and share. Okay, plenty of my content is fine for your friends and family. Okay, I'm going to do my best to keep reporting on a regular basis, either daily reports on the sun, what's happening with World War III or China, or the threat of or concern of possessions and crime. Okay, I'm on the case. So let's go back to the video.
Have come forward as of yet. We spoke to the mom of the victim earlier this morning. She told us she would reach back out to us. She's right now with her daughter.
It would help to know
tonight with second and third
demographics of the people involved.
Burns. And tonight, deputies here in Harnett County are looking for those who are responsible. This is the area where it happened, near the busy intersection of Barbecue Church Road and NC 27. They say someone doused the 20-year-old with gasoline the night of December 16th before using a cigarette to set her on fire. Investigators say Downey was walking in this area when the attack happened. Now, deputies say no witnesses have come forward as of yet. We spoke to the mom of the victim earlier this morning. She told us she would reach back out to us. She's right now with her daughter in the hospital. Of course, if you know anything about this incident, you're urged to call Harnett County Sheriff's Office.
Okay, next
in
video.
Harnett County. Justin Moore, CBS 17 News.
Team, the one platform that replaces all of these. I'm talking about.
This is New York subway. Woman set on fire. Why did nobody stop the subway? I haven't watched this video, but
in a horrific and gruesome crime that has sent shockwaves across New York City, a man set a woman on fire inside the New York City subway train and used a shirt to fan the flames, causing her to become engulfed in fire. The suspect, accused of killing the woman, has been charged with murder in a New York court. This incident has left New Yorkers grappling with questions of safety and inaction by others to save her. As the flames engulfed her body, shocking footage shows a group of onlookers, including some police officers, who either watched or walked past without offering any help. Amid the chaos, an NYPD officer stationed outside the subway car seemingly did nothing as the fire was spreading. The incident has sparked outrage across the city, with many asking just why didn't anyone intervene and help? The woman, believed to be homeless, was reportedly asleep when Sebastian Zepeda, the main accused, allegedly set the unidentified woman's clothes on fire and then fanned the flames by waving a shirt around her, which caused the flames to fully engulf her. According to federal immigration officials, Sebastian Zepeda is an undocumented immigrant from Guatemala who was deported in 2018 and returned illegally to the United States after that. It still remains unclear when and where he entered the country. His last known address was listed as a Brooklyn homeless shelter for men with substance abuse and mental health problems. He is being charged with first and second degree murder and arson charges. The incident happened early Sunday morning on a train that was going to Stillwell Avenue in Brooklyn. And according to the police, the attacker approached the seated victim as the train was approaching the station, simply used a lighter to ignite her clothing, and within seconds, she was engulfed in flames. Officers on duty at the upper level of the station reported smoke and rushed to investigate. And that's when they found the woman covered in fire inside the train car. The woman was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators are now trying to determine just why the woman was set on fire on the Brooklyn subway train, which New York City Police Commissioner Jessica Tisch calls it, and I quote, one of the most depraved crimes one person could possibly commit against another human being. New York City is notorious for its high-profile crimes, and the latest incident has once again raised questions on subway safety. But in a December 3rd news release, the New York Police Department, or the NYPD, reported how crime rates are down in the city. In fact, major crimes were down 1.9% since 2023, and there was a decrease in the overall crime index of 5 points.
Okay, so I'm going to comment over this as you're seeing the video. So I've been looking at the situation for a while, and with New York, and talking about how Portland would fall as far as public safety, and it has. And so, yeah, this is, so we're going to move on. We're going to move on. There's a lot that I have to discuss, but one thing at a time. Guardian Angels patrol New York City subways after woman killed in arson attack. Next video. So you see, there's a reason why I like the martial arts, even if I'm not an expert and I don't have a black belt and have to stay at the same school. Why I'm passionate about like heroic films in a world in which they promote villains. And I've talked about this for years, about professional wrestling, pop culture, promoting gangsters, crime, hurting people. I'm actually paused. I'm sick and tired of seeing these pop-ups, how to be a gangster, and all this nonsense makes me sick. Furthermore, I'm tired of this worship of Snoop Dogg. When I was 13, 14 years old in 1993, 1984, they were shoving that guy down my throat through pop culture. I'm tired of it then, was sick of it then, was aware of the mind control then, the gin and juice, the mind control in those stupid-ass videos, and how they influence the young. And I rejected that pill. And here I am 30 years later, and I see that stupid, ugly face everywhere I look.
Last night, they say she did it because she was unhappy.
A woman involved in a home invasion.
She was been for delivering food there. Thanks for joining us tonight, and Merry Christmas. I'm Hannah McKenzie.
And I'm Manny Martinez. Fox 35's Matt Trezza explains how police were able to track the suspect
I think I'm going to circle back and give more videos and more information about the woman lit on fire as we look at some other crazy things that I've bookmarked that happened over the last few days.
Osceola deputies have arrested 22-year-old Brianna Alvelo and booked her into the county jail. They say she and a man broke into the Riviera Motel in Kissimmee this past Sunday and attacked a person in one of the rooms, all because Alvelo didn't get a big enough pizza delivery tip. Deputies say they found a victim with several stab wounds. First responders rushed the victim to the hospital, where they're currently in stable condition. Detectives from the Violent Crimes Unit say the victim ordered pizza from a local restaurant earlier that evening, and Alvelo got upset over the size of the tip. They say Alvelo later went back to the victim's motel room with a man, and the pair forced their way into the room. Investigators say the man had a gun and Alvelo had a knife, and she started stabbing the victim. The pair allegedly stole things from the room before leaving. Detectives are calling this an isolated incident and say it's still under investigation. Alvelo is being held without bond. She's charged with home invasion with a firearm, attempted murder, kidnapping, and
Okay, next. Now, and I remember being attacked and bullied when I was in school in Aurora, Oregon. A lot of punches to the head. And as I grew older, I came to understand that these were demonic attacks. And so when you see this behavior from children, it's not just the TV and media. Sometimes these souls are born in human bodies as demons, and they just want to hurt people. And in the school system, there's a lot of ways, especially now with technology, in which kids are harassed and bullied. And I'm so glad. I'm actually quite sad I don't have a family. And on the other hand, I'm very glad that I don't. And you know why. And you can see it from my point of view. And congratulations to those of you that are happily married with family. Good luck to you. Okay, please take my advice. So let's talk about this. The public school system is not what it used to be. In fact, I got off lucky and was not exposed to rape, was not exposed to extreme violence, even when I did see violence, but now it's so much worse. And so now there's the stories rising of school teachers being beaten. And then it reminds me of that scene from Lean On Me, in which the teachers are being attacked with their heads smashed into the ground. So the violence with the solar flares is so extreme now. And I'm noticing patterns with certain perpetuators, perps, and certain victims, including white women and other men in general, but also Latinas. And there's also videos of a black teen, probably special needs, smaller, being victimized and beaten out of the Pacific Northwest in the last week. And so with the cell phones and the evil one, I would say, turning various races or perception of races against each other, there's going to be a lot of this turmoil in the future. And a lot of humans don't know why. They don't have the brain. They don't have the curiosity. We'll continue to talk about it as the events unfold, as the TikTok challenges get worse and worse. You good? By the way, you good? Okay, now this one got my attention. And break up the. So let's reflect on the title again. I had feelings that in Portland, Oregon, that there were men lighting women on fire, and where exactly am I thinking or talking about? I don't judge all the homeless, but there's like an apocalyptic situation with aspects of the homeless in Portland, Oregon. I don't view it as simply an issue of just the homeless, drugs, fentanyl, but there's really like a spiritual warfare taking place in Portland, Oregon, with the people there. And there are people on the dark side that are drawn there, even pornography companies that make snuff, fake snuff. They're in Portland, Oregon. There's obviously a lot of fentanyl dealers in Portland, Oregon. There's corrupt cops. I heard that even some cops were hitmen in Portland, Oregon. I've found a real lack of empathy with regards to Portland, Oregon, and my attempts to reach them. All right, so let's talk about some other headlines. I'm just going to share screen. Man arrested for spraying food with bug spray in Mesa Walmart. I talked about that recently. 11-year-old given 48 hours to live. Woman who died on subway was so badly burned, only teeth can ID her. So let's go back to that story and then circle around to the story about the cop walking by her. And so that's the bystander effect. So I believe the demonic invasion, alien invasion is taking place. And that I've been on the case for a long time. And that these wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, although a lot of people don't agree with me, that's where I'm unique, have unleashed a Pandora's box of demons in the direction of our society. And the lack of remorse that people have makes it worse. And there's a real melting pot in America, people that don't give a fuck about those people. So the way I look at it is like we already were already on the dark side to a certain degree. And there's good things about America, but there's also a dark side. Also, not just America, but the world regarding murder and humans hating humans. And so What's happening here, also rape in the military, this is all signs of like a demonic takeover of our people. Man's face slashed at Dumbo subway station. These cities are not livable. They never were livable. A lot of people have mental illness in major cities, thinking that this way of life is the way to go. And there's so much dependency on the police. They're constantly saying, well, at least the police got to the guy. And that's true. That's true. But there's constantly stories about people relying on other people or the cops to help them. When they don't want to learn self-defense, carry mace, or be aware of their surroundings, Bluetooth headphones, cell phones, and so many other things keep people distracted. Okay. I'm not going to waste time on my broadcast complaining about what it's like handing out cards for a long time, trying to get people, women, to care about their own life and more of that than the latest TikTok or the latest trend or the latest Snoop Dogg video or whatever else is being pushed in the direction. It's so sad seeing and knowing what the evil one has planned for them. Thank you for watching. I'm going to be back with a new broadcast, and we will incrementally be talking more about the geopolitical tensions with China, Russia, North Korea, Iran, and so many other news regarding solar flares and demonic possessions. Talk to you then.
A beloved fitness guru tragically loses his life months after a violent robbery attempt. Tonight, what police say happened and chilling details about the suspects. Fox 11's Hal Eisner is live in Hollywood for us. Hal.
Susan, it was a tragic outcome. After 3 months of fighting for his life, Miguel Aguilar has died, and the reaction outside this gym here in Hollywood has been one of sadness.
That's so sad. My condolences.
Reaction to the death Saturday of Miguel Aguilar outside one of the many self-made training facilities for which he was the CEO. The company on his Instagram saying, "We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of our founder and CEO, Miguel Aguilar, who was also a sports influencer."
Are you just tired of the overcrowded gyms? Are you just tired of that typical meathead?
Police said it was September 13th in the 11,400 block of Thurston Circle that 4 armed suspects allegedly followed Aguilar and his wife to their West L.A. home. TMZ reports they tried to take Aguilar's Rolex, and that's when he was shot in the face. TMZ also reporting Aguilar had a gun, but it looks like he didn't fire any shots. Police say 3 of the suspects were eventually arrested. One died from wounds he received during the attempted robbery. It's not clear exactly how that happened.
No, I love the people here.
We caught up with gym goer Josh Capo as he was leaving the gym after a workout. He didn't know Aguilar, but he had respect.
It's really a shame, especially a young, successful, have everything going for him kind of guy, so it's really a shame.
The district attorney's office has filed multiple charges against those 3 suspects that include murder attempt, robbery, and assault with a deadly weapon. In Hollywood, I'm Hal Eisner, Fox 11 News. Susan, back to you.
Oh, Hal, thank you so much for that story, but what a terrible, terrible ending.
Of minor storms over the next day or two. Then by the weekend, things should be pretty much settled down. And then we're kind of in hurry up and wait mode because we're not expecting all that much. We don't have any more fast solar wind on the way. We are kind of in the wait mode to see whether or not we're going to get any big solar storms because those new regions rotating into Earth view. At mid-latitudes, the outlook is about the same. We're expecting unsettled conditions, even with this fast solar wind, with about a 25% chance of active conditions over the next day or two. Then things really begin to quiet down. But again, these forecasts may not last all that long because we do have those big solar storm producers, and they could change this forecast very quickly for aurora photographers. Now, switching to our solar flare and dayside radio blackout outlook over the coming week, we are sitting well into the triple digits. In fact, by the end of the week, we could be up into the 200s when it comes to solar flux. And this is because of those returning regions 3905, 06, and possibly 3912 that could be very big flare players. So expect to see that solar flux rise. We're also sitting at moderate noise on the dayside radio bands, but that could also rise as we move into the next upcoming week. NOAA's giving us about a 40% chance of M-class flares. This is at the R1 to R2 level radio blackout level, and also about a 5% chance of X-class flares at an R3 level radio blackout. But again, this is likely likely going to rise over this next week as those bigger flare players rotate into Earth view. So everybody hold on to your hats because it could get pretty noisy. Now, switching to our radiation storm and polar aviation outlook over the coming week, everything is in the green this week when it comes to radiation storms. We're sitting at the D1 normal range. This is at flight level 360 for you aviators. It's also the S0 quiet range for everyone else. Right now, NOAA's giving us only about a 5% chance of a radiation storm at the S1 to S2 level, and this is likely going to be true for the rest of this week. And this is because we don't really have any big flare players in Earth view, and even when those returning regions rotate into Earth view, not quite sure they're going to give us all that much while they're on the east limb, but expect over next week this risk to rise quite a bit as those regions start rotating closer to center disk. So you aviators, and this does include flight crew and you frequent flyers, pay attention to those ICAO advisories in the next few days and over this next week, because these conditions likely are going to change. So the space weather this week is full of a lot of eye candy. We have had a lot of eruptions that haven't been Earth directed, but we do have the chance for that to change here over this next week as new regions rotate into Earth view from the sun's far side, and they have been launching some whoppers. So aurora photographers, don't worry about the fizzle that we've been having. Just kind of sit tight here over this next week, and we could get some bigger storms on the way. Now, amateur radio operators and emergency responders, enjoy the quiet right now on the dayside radio bands, because this is likely going to change over this next week as these big regions rotate back into Earth view and we start getting the big flares like big radio blackouts again. So just expect that the noise on the bands is going to rise over the next few days and into next week, and just kind of hunker down. And now you GPS users, well, the same kind of thing. Enjoy the relative quiet right now, because things are likely going to change in about a week. And as long as you're vigilant near dawn and near dusk, your GPS reception, at least over the next few days, should be pretty top notch. I'm Tamitha Skov, the Space Weather Woman. Thank you for watching.
In other news, the war between Russia and Ukraine intensifies. Russian President Vladimir Putin has now issued a stern warning to Ukraine after the drone attack in Kazan.
Now, Putin has vowed to escalate military actions against Ukraine, promising more destruction. A drone smashed into a high-rise apartment building in Kazan, a city of more than 1.3 million, and damaged a skyscraper, but no civilians were harmed. Now, this added to the appearance of a 9/11 style of strikes.
Whoever and however much they try to destroy in Russia, they will face many times more destruction themselves and will regret what they are trying to do in our country.
Amid Ukraine's aggressive drone strikes, the Russian Defense Ministry announced the capture of Stotasivka, Lozova and a new village near Korakov in eastern Ukraine. Russia also claimed to have seized over 190 Ukrainian settlements, with President Vladimir Putin describing the year as a landmark year in achieving military objectives in Ukraine. Russia also claims it successfully struck Ukrainian military targets, including an ammunition depot.
In response to the rising Russian aggression, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has stated that Ukraine's membership in NATO is achievable. The statement comes amid ongoing discussions about Ukraine's aspirations to join the military alliance.
In addition to these latest drone strikes, Russia is also being hit by attempted arson attacks. Multiple incidents of the arson attacks have been taking place in Russia, and they are targeting banks, shopping centers, post offices and government buildings across major cities like St. Petersburg and Moscow. The record number of arson incidents have raised concerns about security and public safety in Russia.
Here is a new, unique scam involving a mysterious package showing up on your doorstep and an even more mysterious QR code. It's being called a brushing scam, and police are sending an urgent warning about it today. New Jersey correspondent Trish Hartman spoke to one woman who almost fell victim to that scam and has some useful advice.
As holiday cheer is arriving in the form of boxes in the delivery truck, authorities are putting out warnings about unsolicited packages in the form of a brushing scam.
It was a really nice gift set for skincare.
Nancy Kowalik of Mullica Hill received a package out of the blue and couldn't figure out who it was from. Now, after seeing warning posts from local police departments, she believes it was likely part of a scam.
There was a QR code, and I'm paranoid, so I don't scan anything, but I kept asking friends, and no one ever claimed sending that gift to me.
Experts like Venkat Magapuri from Villanova University say once a fraudulent seller sends a package, even though you didn't order it, they can write a verified review for their product online.
Now, once these packages have been delivered, these fraudulent sellers, they go online and write a glowing review for their product in an attempt to boost sales.
And like Nancy mentioned, the package could also contain a QR code, which could lead you to a malicious website. They might say something like,
scan this QR code to leave a review on a product that you recently purchased to perhaps be eligible for like a $500 gift card or something like that.
Technology expert Tony Sabai says while scanning the QR code won't necessarily cause any harm, the website you visit may ask you for sensitive information. And if you've gotten one of those packages,
change your login on Amazon if that's the site that's the vehicle for the brushing scam. Change your password. It's always good to have the two-factor authentication set up on your online shopping accounts and your banking accounts.
And that was Trish Hartman reporting. Another precaution to protect yourself is to enroll in some kind of credit monitoring. We've got tips on how you can do that on 6abc.com.
Tonight, we are now learning it was a 7-year-old boy who was hit by a drone and rushed to the hospital. We have team coverage tonight.
We're going to hear what the massive drone company responsible for this show has to say. But first, the mom of that little boy speaks out, telling West 2's Spencer Tracy he had to undergo open heart surgery.
A night of holiday lights turned into a scare in the sky.
No, I don't think they're supposed to be falling.
That is video showing the drones falling over Lake Eola Park during an Orlando holiday show on Saturday night. Orlando Fire says one person was injured during the event and sent to the hospital. One mother tells us she was here sitting with her family on this brick wall during the drone show when she says a drone came falling from the sky and the unimaginable happened. She says it hit her son.
Everyone's natural instinct was to like duck and scatter. And right when we knew it, like my daughter found my son on the floor, unconscious, blood coming out his face.
Adriana Edgerton says her 7-year-old son, Alexander, has been in the hospital ever since.
Like it ended in nightmares and just feel so bad. It's like 3 days before Christmas.
A spokesperson from the FAA says several of the small drones collided and fell into the crowd at 6:45 p.m. Initially, there were supposed to be 2 performances, one at 6:30 and another at 8 p.m., but the second show was canceled because of the incident. Our crew saw the drones on the ground, and one was placed in an evidence bag. Edgerton says more safety precautions need to be put in place, especially for big events with so many people.
This should not happen. No family should be going through this off of, trying to watch a show and have a good time. And
covering Orange County, in Orlando, I'm Spencer Tracy, West 2 News.
A nightmare unfolding right before Christmas.
One of the most depraved crimes one person could possibly commit against another human being.
A woman riding the New York subway Sunday morning set on fire at the Coney Island stop. The suspect sitting back calmly, watching her burn to death. We've blurred the images due to the graphic content.
The suspect used what we believe to be a lighter to ignite the victim's clothing, which became fully engulfed in a matter of seconds.
Detailed videos from the scene helping NYPD swiftly make an arrest, apprehending 33-year-old Guatemalan migrant Sebastian Zapata. New York Governor Kathy Hochul coming under fire from critics for social media posts made in the hours after the brutal murder, claiming she has made the subway safer for millions of riders.
Subway crime is down 10%.
Zapata came to the U.S. illegally in 2018, the Trump administration deporting him days later. Fox News reporting ICE officials say Zapata entered the U.S. illegally again at an unknown date. This murder bringing the crisis at the southern border back to the forefront of issues facing New York City.
That has to stop. That is so upsetting just a few days before Christmas for that to happen in our city, but it was allowed to happen because our city refuses to cooperate with ICE to deport individuals. And so we need President Trump and Tom Homan desperately to come in and clean up our city and secure our border.
New York City Mayor Eric Adams met with Trump to discuss plans to remove undocumented migrants from the city when Trump returns to the White House. I'm Kayla Gaskins reporting.
Our other top story of the night, we are learning new information about what happened moments before two Macomb County officials got arrested over the weekend.
Superintendent Holly Stange and Food Services Director Amanda Carroll both face a list of charges for allegedly having marijuana on school grounds. And that's not all. Prosecutor Pete Lucido says cops saw the Fitzgerald Public Schools superintendent, Holly Stange, climb into her colleague Amanda Carroll's car to smoke marijuana with her for several minutes. Once she drove off, officers pulled her over and say she was under the influence. They also say they found a .22 caliber rifle in the back seat of the car. Warren police also pulled over Carroll, who was driving with her 6-year-old child at the time, and allegedly found her to also be under the influence. An attorney for Stange has questions about the charges.
There's a host of issues with that to show that somebody was impaired by marijuana use. Was it a hit? Was it 2 hits? They're going to claim, I guarantee you, we smelled a strong odor of marijuana. You just take one puff of marijuana, you're going to smell a strong odor.
Both Stange and Carroll have a bond of $5,000 and are facing felony drug charges and a handful of other misdemeanors. They're scheduled to appear in court again on January 2nd. Meanwhile, the Board of Education at Fitzgerald Public Schools has placed both officials on administrative leave pending the results of their own internal investigation.
Questions remain after dozens of migrants in Chicago's South Shore neighborhood say they were forced out into the cold just one day before Christmas Eve. Some say they weren't even allowed to retrieve their belongings. But a spokesperson for the mayor's office says the building they were staying in is unsafe. Julian Cruz is live at the Chicago Police Department's 3rd District with the latest. Julian.
Well, Ben, city personnel converging on a large South Shore apartment building accompanied by a large presence of Chicago police officers. Spokespeople for the mayor's office telling us that the migrants are being moved due to safety concerns in the building, but members of the community telling us that the operation was both chaotic and heavy-handed.
I saw groups of children. There's ladies with newborns in their arms.
Neighbors distressed to see families in the cold at 74th and South Phillips the day before Christmas Eve.
They can't even get their coats out of their apartments.
Warming buses and the Salvation Army, among various city agencies, here to support what the mayor's office calls an evacuation due to safety concerns in the large South Shore apartment building. But the migrants telling us that there wasn't adequate notice.
I
have 2 small children, a migrant father tells us. One is 2 years old and the other 3, and I don't have anywhere to go. Others upset with what they say is a confusing situation and the abruptness with which city departments and police remove migrants from the building. The majority of us have lost our documents, our clothes, and our shoes, a mother of 2 tells us, anguished most especially by the inability to retrieve crucially important documents. We have paid a month for $1,200, and it's only been 10 days, this man tells us. Many confused about where they'll go and what happens to the rent money that they say they already paid at the large apartment building on the 7300 block of South Phillips. Spokespeople for the Salvation Army in a written statement say that there have been serious issues with residents in the building over the past month, and too many occupants moved into the building, causing deplorable conditions. Sources telling us that it was Chicago's building department making the call to evacuate the apartment building. 6 families, we are told, transported to the New Life shelter, others taken to the city's new intake center, and another group refusing transport to other area shelters. On the South Shore, Julian Cruz, WGN News.
Now at 5, the first responders who were called to a Converse area Whataburger found a heartbreaking scene after a woman had been locked in a bathroom stall for hours. Firefighters say they found a baby girl in a toilet. That baby was pronounced dead at the hospital. And we do want to warn you, the details in this story are graphic and disturbing. KENS 5 reporter Sue Kalberg brings us the latest.
This arrest affidavit says a 33-year-old woman showed up here around midnight last Thursday. They say the woman spent several hours in a bathroom stall and they tried to help her, but eventually they had to call deputies and firefighters for help.
Baby's loving and growing. We've got mom on scene for another minute or two.
The court documents say even though both the mom and the baby were rushed to the hospital, the baby didn't survive. The medical examiner has not ruled on her cause of death yet, but a doctor in the emergency room told investigators the baby appeared to be about 28 to 30 weeks along, and she had injuries consistent with an effort to flush her down the toilet. Now, 33-year-old Mallory Strait is charged with abuse of a corpse. She remains jailed on a bond of $100,000, and online records indicate she's being held in a special needs unit at the Bexar County Jail.
The nonprofit that works to provide compassionate funerals for all the abandoned babies in Bexar County has been involved in this case since the beginning. Pam Allen says they're working to gain legal custody of the baby so that they will have the authority to give her a loving funeral. In Northeast Bexar County, Sue Kalberg, KENS 5.
Son that was going to do something special. And with the 30 years that he had on this earth, that's what he did.
At 5:30 p.m. Friday evening, a 911 call came in from Irving Boulevard and Wycliffe Avenue in Dallas describing a horrific crash. Heaps' girlfriend, Cora Messick, became concerned when he was late getting home from work.
And he had to reach out to me. And I texted him and asked where he was. And then 10 minutes later, I checked his location, and he's still there.
Witnesses told investigators 21-year-old Jonathan Salazar Garcia took a left turn in his Dodge Ram truck and collided with Heaps' Harley-Davidson motorcycle. Heaps died on scene. Dallas police say Salazar Garcia never stopped to help. However, 2 nearby drivers followed Salazar Garcia's truck until police arrived. Salazar Garcia was identified by his Mexico driver's license. He's now being held at the Dallas County Jail on an immigration hold with a charge of collision involving death.
We're having to go through the loss of a beautiful soul because somebody wasn't doing what they were supposed to do.
A beautiful soul, Messick says she had an immediate connection with. The two had plans of marriage and buying their first home together.
He was the first person that I ever really thought about forever about and felt sure. I've never met someone so amazing and loyal and compassionate.